this turns into a 1 hour happy hour.
Yeah.
So, a lot of my viewers don't know this, though if you follow me on social media, you do know. There was a little bit of plotting in the hour after the coronet was named.
Yep.
So what happened was, a friend of mine walked up. Keep in mind, I am the autocrat for Wiesenfeuer Yule Revel, which is a pretty low-key, at this time it's an outdoor event, which is the first time for us with the COVID requirements. He walks up to me at about an hour and a half after the tournament was over, and Romanus and Deanna were named Prince and Princess, and he goes, Ivo, I got a big favor to ask. Okay, what's that? Could you fit a major tournament into Yule Revel? And I look at him like, Yule Revel is in 7 days.
Less than by this point.
Yeah, 6.5 days. What in God's green earth makes you think I even want to fit a tournament into an event that's going down in 6.5 days? I was like, what have you taken leave of your senses? He looks at me and he goes, I want to hold the Princess's Rapier tournament there. And I went, I put my hand on his shoulder and I went, stay here, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And if anyone was at the event, at Coronet Tournament, and sees me running across sight like the devil himself is chasing me.
More accurately, an Ivo-shaped dust cloud.
That was me running to my Baron, Baroness, my co-autocrat, and our seneschal. Mm-hmm. And I walked up to them and I'm like, Your Highness, or Your Excellency, Elric, Isaac, here, now! And they all come running over, and I tell them, and we immediately agree this is insane. Like, this is not going to go well. But the alternatives were... So we decide we're going to do this, which, by the way, this is now past tense. The event was a success. The story I have not heard, because all of this hinged on Her Highness being able to make it there in a week. And Deanna and Romanus do not live close to Oklahoma City. They're down in...
They're in Bradley, right?
Yeah, it's Bradley, which is 2 hours,
I don't know my
hour and a
mundane
half.
geography.
Yeah. It's a haul. It's not something they could just walk out their front door and do a short trip to. This is not a small deal. Even if they want to attend, let alone hold court and have a ceremony there. So we had to wait until the next morning. I get up the next morning, and I've got a text from Deanna saying, yes, we want to hold the tournament there. So I go flying over to my computer. I pull up Marcus's IM. This is the guy that came up to me. And I text him, and it says, not received. His phone's turned off. Well, I know that she's going to be with Marcus because there's a rapier
It was the
practice.
war practice, so it was Shiv was doing something, and also Rapier was doing something.
So I pull up her IM screen, and I blow it up. I'm like, all caps, font in large, get Marcus on the phone now. 20 exclamation points off the side of the screen.
I'm like in a corner. I'm over there doing melee practice. We're doing scenarios. My phone's over there.
So I sent that, and then I made a conscious effort to go get something to eat because I hadn't had breakfast yet.
Good job.
My stomach
Proud
was
of
doing
you.
cartwheels. I might have just been a lot of nauseous at that moment. So what went down and what was everyone's reaction? Because they had heard this was a possibility, but it was a long shot.
It was beyond a long shot.
This was a long
I think
shot.
everybody present was kind of in the like, yeah, that's a really cool idea. We're probably not going to get it, so we're just going to kind of fantasize about it a little bit. Anyways, let's go back to fighting.
You weren't the only ones, trust me.
I stepped off the field when we were taking a break between some of our scenarios, and I went to go get water and to show somebody a really cursed piece of heraldry that I'd found. So I was opening up my phone to be like, hey, do you want to see this really weird charge? And I open it and I see like 30 Discord messages. I don't know how many Facebook messages. If he had like my MySpace account, he would have probably freaking like texted me there.
Guilty as charged.
And it just says like, get Marcus on the line! And Marcus is over there just going la-da-da-da-da. And in that moment, it was like slow motion, set my phone, like barely sat it down, kind of tossed it, turned, started shouting, Marcus! While like running, and like I want to say that I did it in a very like adult, like collected, calm fashion, like just stride up and be like, Marcus,
I don't believe that for a
absolutely
second.
not. I almost ate dirt. I took off running. I almost body slammed. I was like, Marcus! Marcus, go, Ivo! Marcus!
I
He was not comprehensible, but he. It took him a second to tell what I was saying, because again, it didn't sound like words. It was Marcus. So once he realized what I was saying, his eyes just kind of went, poof. And then he turned, and the like sea of fighters parted as he like ran for a phone, and then he disappeared.
Yep.
He rounded a corner and disappeared, and we're all sitting there like twiddling our thumbs, like.
Now this is where I got the phone call, and he goes, "I got your message. What is it?" And I'm like, "We have a go. This is a reality." And I heard some inaudible something on the other end of the line. I mean, it might have been him swallowing his uvula. No. And I'm like, "Okay, clock's ticking. You have 72 hours to get me a format, a full crew, a plan, and an advertisement. And we do not have 73 hours. We do not have 74 hours. I need this before 72 is up. We needed this a week ago yesterday." And he goes, "Okay, I'm on it. Good." I hang up. What else am I going to say? I'm burning time we don't have. I hang up the phone, and I walk into the other room, and I'm like, holy shit, we're officially committed. What the hell have I gotten myself into? Now, what happened on your end? Because I have not heard this story. That's part of the reason I got you in here. I want to hear the story.
Marcus emerges from the kind of like workhouse building, which is like on the same site that we're having the practice at. So you don't see him for a minute, and he steps outside, and he kind of walks up to me, and like talks about grabbing the rest of the rapier fighters. And I don't think either of us is actually communicating like with real human words. I'll be quite honest. There was a lot of
fill in the blanks. You both know me, and you both knew the possibility was there.
So most of the rest of the fighters are still down like a good 20, 30 yards away where we've been like running scenarios. And we kind of walk down there, and I realize like, oh, he's got me like kind of beside in front of him. I will be doing my one herald job, which is yell attend really loud, which I did.
Yep.
Really loud, to get the attention of all the rapier fighters. And he made sure we were all gathered up before he announced that like it was a go. This was a plan. Like we had an out of kingdom like baron visiting and like running war drills with us, which is super cool. We had so many people, and he kind of asked for a head count. He was like, okay, of the people here, how many of y'all are planning on fighting in this tournament? Like, please, what can I get a vague head count? And while he's saying this, Lyra's in a corner. She started to already write, like, the Facebook posts to the Legion.
Yep.
So we can, like, advertise to everybody, like, hey, come to our event. We will have sword fighting. We will have a princess.
You'll have the sword fighting.
We will have the sword fighting.
Because there was already a tournament planned. We were doing the charity tournament.
Yeah, we're going to do the
toy tournament. This is the premier rapier championship for a principality. First. I mean, you don't get a second shot at this.
It's to be the princess champion. Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the reaction? How did everyone...
There was a lot of disbelief, and then a lot of, okay, can I make it? Can you make it? I can make it? And then, like, asking, because we had a couple, like, fighters from the south there, and they were like, we're all going to go see Hamilton that weekend.
Well, if they were south of the Red River, they weren't going to get in anyway.
Yeah, well, they could still fight.
Oh, they could.
Yeah.
They could. I had to break it to a couple of high-level fighters down south that, yeah, you can fight, but you can't enter the finals. And they're like, but I'm announced Stewart. And I'm like, yeah, but you're not Ben Time. Sorry.
Yeah, not for this first one, buddy. But we did have, like, a huge showing of fighters. And, like, a big part of it for us was we wanted to not just make sure that there was a lot of good fighting on that field. We had a lot of good options. We wanted to make sure that it was a good, entertaining day for the princess, and she had a good showing of people all willing to throw hands and throw steel.
To be absolutely clear about this, we technically had a week to do everything, but 90% of the planning, and I'd say 95% of the fighters had made their decisions before Tuesday was over.
This is true.
Yeah, so these decisions were made. And how many fighters did you guys, 18 or 20, or how many showed up that day?
I think there was like 20 overall fighters, but not everybody fought in the Princess Champion, because some were
yeah, I remember
were taking a step back, or they were just marshalling, or they were just heralding. And then some people didn't fight in the toy tourney and fought in the Princess Champion.
Yeah, yeah.
But we had a pretty solid showing for zero notice.
For zero notice,
and
new group. And
And
it was,
this is during melee season.
and during, and I
We
don't,
haven't been practicing tournament fighting for a while.
and to be absolutely clear, I don't want to make it sound like the princess made do. There was some outstanding fighting out there.
Oh my
you
God.
guys put on some world class. Like, I know one of you guys might have been one of the peers, even walked off there going, damned, you'd think it was Queen Champion or something.
Oh yeah, we
Yeah.
were.
You guys brought your A game.
We brought our A game. We also brought our A game banter.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
There was some choice banter. It was. I
only
loved
caught
it.
parts of this because I'm the autocrat of this dog and pony show,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm pretty much having a perpetual nervous breakdown from sunrise to sunset.
Oh yeah.
But I just wanted to get on camera the story of what happened at the fighter practice because that was the one piece of the story that I was not really there for.
Mm-hmm. It was surprise Herald moment for
Yeah,
one.
yeah, but it sounds like you guys. Sounds like it was. I mean, it's one of those moments in history. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the things you have to remember about us is that, I mean, you and I are different generations, but keep in mind the people we look up to, Elric, Robin of Gilwell.
Yep.
Okay, if you think about this, just look at the numbers. They were our age when half of their stories were told.
I genuinely refuse to believe that either of them were ever my age. They burst out of the ground fully formed and mustached. They were just mustachioed.
Whatever helps you sleep at night. All right. I'm going to wrap this up because we could talk for hours. I mean, we've had that conversation.
Yeah.
But, and really the point of this video is as much as I talk about culture and society and the tidbits and all that, there is also just a whole lot of really, really good stories that come out of these events. And even when things get stressful and crazy and oh my God, what are we doing? We can sit back afterward and laugh about it.
And a lot of those stories come from things being stressful, things being crazy,
Things
being
going
scary
wrong.
and going wrong, and people rallying
and
around
rallying
to
around,
fix it.
and we do it.
Like, by golly, we made a tournament happen with like less than 6 days notice.
Yeah. Well, 90% of that was, I mean, he turned in his last paperwork to me 63 hours later. I know I was counting.
Yeah, I'm not surprised that you were counting.
Yeah, oh God. I'll do a whole video about my week-long nervous breakdown that was Yule Revel becoming Yule Revel in the Premier Princesses Championship Rapier Tournament.
But
Oh
it
my
worked
God.
out so good.
Oh, it did. It did. All right, guys. It has been a blast. It really has. I thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for sharing, and we need to do this again. We really need to do this again. To all of you, thank you for joining us. Until next time, see you at the next event. Goodbye, and God bless.